What is going on, family? Welcome to Monday Talks. Petit Noir in the building. What's going on, brother? Thank you for tuning in. Monday Talks. Well, we're starting this Monday on a very, very, very sad note. Sifa in the building. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. As you know, this Monday Talks is all about positivity, raising the bar always to the next level of self-empowerment. But I want to talk about death today. Please don't live the life because it's about to be very uplifting and powerful. As most of you have found out, certainly through the news, Kobe Bryant and his daughter died yesterday on a helicopter crash amongst 7 other people. And I won't lie, I'm a big basketball fan, and as many of you probably, a fan of the guy as a human being, as an inspiration. And his passing, so brutal and so hard. Hurts. It hurts because it's life, but it's just too brutal, and we don't get to choose. He woke up Sunday together with his daughter, planning to go, have a great day, just like all of us, and they never came back to their family. All of them. When people say, hey, go home safe, come back safe, travel safe, don't take these words lightly, family. We have the proof that it is not something to be taken for granted. Life is too fucking precious. All these things bring back memories. When I was a kid, my father was a businessman, and back in Central African Republic in Bria, in the eastern part of Central African Republic, the only way for us to get our goods were by plane. So we would have like a plane every week coming in and bringing us stuff. One of my father's and family's friend, actually, his name was Javier, an amazing pilot. What you can call a freaking genius of knowing how to handle a plane. I will always remember he had a Cessna Beechcraft. That plane it's a mono engine, made a lot of noise, was super fast. This guy was a massive professional. Like, he knew what was going on. And he's the guy that came and picked up my father. Came to us in Bria, announcing, because I lost my eldest brother. I have a much older brother that will be this year 50 years old, and my older brother committed suicide. And he came and announced the news, but he came by plane to announce the news to my father. And Nuno Valente, what do you do? Family in the building. And so basically, this man was a friend of the family, working together with my father in the company, and flew my father back with us. We had to leave. We didn't know what was going on. Anyway, we went to Bangui, the capital of Central African Republic. What's going on, Stacy? Welcome, everyone. And when we arrived is when we found out that my brother, it's when I got home. I was like, oh, where's Boris? And then we're like, no, your brother is no longer. And as you can imagine, I was shut down. As a kid, I understood exactly what that meant. My brother would never come back again. So, that's, if I recall well, it's in 1991. Yeah. With that being said, this man Javier was a professional, friend of the family. A couple of months later, actually the next year of my brother's passing, his plane crashed. On board with him, some other friends of my father and the family, and the French army, which had all these helicopters, C-40, whatever, C-130, and all those planes. Asked my father to join them because they finally, spotted the plane that was crashed in the bush, and asked my father to go, recognize the bodies, And it was a traumatic experience for my father, obviously, young man, business guy, making his money, and everybody was booming. The whole, we had just come not even out of that situation with losing my brother, but then things just got so hard because it kept lining up. A lot of people kept dying, and Javier, and all the passengers on the plane didn't survive. None of them survived. And so the cause of the crash, so we did this whole thing where there was a whole investigation, and they were able to sort of like decrypt and explain how the crash happened. There was a problem of hydraulics. Actually, in that particular case, things were never really clear, but it seems like the plane was actually sabotaged. It's not being proved, but things can happen. Technical reasons. Let's just put it in these terms. Technical reasons. Oil started splashing the screen of the plane. I mean the window. Lost visibility, and at that speed, they didn't have time, so they crashed. The plane did not explode, but everybody on the plane died. Sad story, dramatic. And an experience that you can never really completely forget. As you can see, I was still a young child, and almost a teen, not even. And I can still recall that very vividly. All that to say that my father instilled in us this capacity of accepting the unacceptable. And in Africa, or some countries or some continents which are still battling with having access to medicines, the basic stuff, you can die from a freaking flu in some parts of this world, right? So when you understand that perspective, we were in touch with death on a regular basis. Gaji, comment ça va? Welcome everyone. Sorry, I'm starting with a sad note, but it is important to pause the base of this conversation today. Because we were exposed to so much death around, because my environment was also, there was a lot of poverty. My father did a lot for the region. My father did his best for the eastern part of Central African Republic, and not only. He was a very respected businessman, very highly regarded, because he knew how to make money but also spread the money out. And merci. Even with that financial capacity to try and help as many people, he was never really able to save everybody. Obviously, that's life. That's how it goes. What I'm trying to say here is that life will hit you in ways that you don't expect. And the most precious thing that we have right now is our health. The simple fact that you and me are breathing now, watching this live, doing whatever the heck we're doing on a daily basis, cannot be taken for granted. That's why when you see, I need you to understand something, man. The reason why I'm so passionate about how I speak is because I live my truth. And I'm not talking about something that I've heard. It's something that I'm experiencing or that I've experienced. So please do understand that these do come from experience. I am young, but I've had many lives in my time spent on this earth. I've lost. I know what death is. I've lost way too many people. Seen way too many people die before my eyes, in different instances, and people that were not necessarily related to me. People that were, just. I remember there was this young girl. I was 9 years old. She was about to die. She had anemia. And I was in tears. I went to my father. She was the daughter of somebody that we know, somebody that worked for my parents. And I said, Dad, I want to give my blood because she needed blood. Unfortunately, my blood was not compatible with hers because she was O plus, O positive, and I was A negative. So my type of blood couldn't work with her. And God knows we did, because before you give your blood, you have to, do tests, make sure that person is not sick or anything like that before you give it to the child. But, bear in mind, we in Bria, freaking, the 90s, and it's like, shit, man, you got to do tests. I mean, it's crazy. So, yes, I do come from a family that had financial power. My father had the financial means to help and to do what he could, obviously, and he did. And there were so many other kids that we could have tried to help, that we've helped actually in many ways, helping the parents pay their bills, etc., etc., etc. But that particular kid, that girl, we were the same age, and anyway, we managed to save her. We managed to find somebody who's compatible, give her the blood, boom, that's cool. And a couple of months later, another situation happened, the girl dies. And so, with that being said, I'm not saying that you have to go through these things to be necessarily tough or anything like that. You don't have to go through that to understand the necessity to value life. But all I'm saying is that all these experiences have shaped me to sort of like be prepared for death and to understand what it means and to understand the perspective of physical life and metaphysical life, and understand that what we see is not necessarily what it is. Just because you see somebody in a coffin or you see somebody dead doesn't mean that person is dead and that person has disappeared. You understand? So for me, I've built a spiritual relationship. I don't cultivate pain. I don't cultivate, sorrow. It's not in my ways. I can feel the pain. I can feel some level of hurt, of course, undoubtedly. But I cultivate love, and that love that I had for those people that I've lost, the love that you have for the people that you've lost, is actually the number one mean of communication between you and them in spirit. Kobe Bryant and his daughter and all the people in this plane that passed away, because we only talk about Kobe, but what about these people? That guy who was a coach of a university baseball team, that was his wife and his daughter, leaving behind 2 kids who have no parents, no family. Tragedy. And the love, the whole world, everybody individually, it doesn't matter if you know or not know, everybody shared love, everybody was there accompanying, or he's there accompanying these families, right, with their positive thoughts, with their prayers, etc. You see, that is a proof that we need more people to capitalize those strengths to really make this place a better fucking place. Because we spend too many times on petty shit. It's almost like we refuse to look at greatness, appreciate greatness when it's there, in our hands or around us or in front of us. We only appreciate it, or we only realize when it's not there anymore, or when it's not at reach. Of course, we cannot leave, we cannot leave expecting things to last forever. Nothing lasts forever. Nothing. But at least, if we try our hardest to make sure that while we are here present in this life form, we manifest the most amount of compassion, love, respect for ourselves first, before we can actually truly be able to love somebody or others. Because this is the thing. There's not enough self-appreciation self-love, etc., and so on and so forth. We are called upon our own shit in many occasions. Most of the time, we don't want to see that. Most of the time, we refuse to see the reality and the truth for what it is because it's too hard to accept. It's too hard to see before you what is being displayed. So, I can tell you from experience, family, that there is indeed a life after death. I don't know what form it has. I don't know how it functions. I have no idea. I've not died myself to come back and tell you. But I can tell you one thing for sure is that, at least for sure for me, I'm not trying to say that this is how it is for everybody, but at least for me and my personal connection, you know, having lost my father, my brother, my uncle, I mean, God, crazy. I actually, crazy. But the connection is there. It's spiritual. It's intrinsically in you and in them. We are all connected. Even if somebody's not part of your family, you know, you can still cherish that person. You can still appreciate that person, love that person, treat that person as somebody that is close to your heart. That person betrays you, that's life. What are you going to do about it? Cry? No way, no need for any tears. Because everybody is entitled to their own experiences in this life form. Some people choose to be assholes, some people choose to be good people. Doesn't fucking matter. This is who we choose to be. Now it is true that, you know, some people suffer more than others. That is true. And why? I don't have an answer to that question. But I can tell you this much. As far as my personal experience is concerned, I refuse to be determined by the pains and by the struggles and by the dramas of life. I have chosen to strengthen myself. It's not always easy. It surely isn't always easy. You know, it's lonely at the top, as they say. But you don't have to be at the top to be lonely. You know, you have to appreciate the fact that you have your role to play here. But play it fully. It doesn't matter if you're small, tiny, big, fat, this, that, black, white, yellow. Look, play your role. Try to be as much as possible committed to honoring your life and the life of the people around you. The life of the people that you care for, honor it. Call on the people that you love. Send them messages, let them know that you care. You know, as I say that to you, there are people that I don't talk to. There are certain people that I've stopped talking to for a long time, you know, out of some bullshit. But, you know, people get in their ways. You don't understand why. You're like, what the fuck have I done to you? You know, we stopped talking, etc., etc., etc. So, it's hard maybe to contact these kind of people. But your role and your mission is to make sure that at least you try to make amends. You try to reach out. You try to give love. You try to share love. You try to be love. Family, death is real. We have been reminded hardly yesterday. Probably some people around the world have probably also lost somebody yesterday or today. We don't know. But surely that is the case. And if what I'm saying resonates in any way, shape, or form, I truly hope and pray that you're not going to let yourself go down. You know? We have to understand that these things happen. We don't get to choose how we go. As I speak to you now, look, there's not a day I wake up without giving thanks. As in, like I verbally say it. As I step out of my bed, I give thanks. It doesn't matter who you believe in, what you believe in. Give thanks for life because it's a freaking gift. The fact that you and me can breathe, I repeat, breathing is a fucking blessing. You understand? The fact that, you know, you have your health together is a blessing. Even in times of sickness, in times of not knowing the answer to your problem, you still have to be extremely positive. Try at least. One of my dearest friends has a genetical disease, and is one of the most amazing guys that I know and the most resilient warrior that I know. He's a true fucking inspiration to me. Out of respect, I won't name who he is, and all I can say, however, is that this guy happens to be one of the best of his company, despite the fact that he can't always work from his office because he has to stay home. He has to be literally laid down because of that disease that's creating excruciating pain in his head. There's no cure. They keep experimenting on him, and it's tough. But this brother is the most resilient brother you can find. Hello everyone, once again, thank you for joining the live. Thank you for tuning in. The resiliency of this brother is something that amazes me. And whenever I feel like I'm going to go down for some reason, or I feel a little low, I think about him. I think about everybody else that I don't know of that is going through some shit that is a little bit deeper than mine. Not saying that it undermines my problem, because my problem is also as valid, or your problem is also as important as someone else. The thing is that realize that as long as you're alive, there are solutions. There are solutions. You can see documentaries of people who were born without arms, able to draw and do things with their feet. If you really want to live, you will live, and you will find solutions. You will find ways and means to make things happen. Family, don't be limited and don't feel limited by, by life when it happens to you, because sometimes life happens, and not always in the fun and in the best of ways, but it does happen for reasons, and everybody have to find what reason they must, or what message they must take from those experiences. Nobody can judge your experience and say you're weak or you're this or you're that. You make choices, and you gotta live by them choices. You know what I mean? So make sure that whatever choice you make, even if you might have a little bit of regret, you might have a little bit of pain in your heart as you make that choice, make sure that you forgive yourself and you move forward and you keep pushing, because we don't really know what tomorrow is made of, but we can control now as best as we can. We don't even know what's going to happen in the next hour. We made a plan, but we don't know what's going to happen. So we can't live in fear neither. That's why we must live our lives fully. I planned and I made a promise to myself when my father died, and after all these sufferings, all this shit that I went through, that I will actually be very detailed about in due time. Not now. Now is not the time for you to know this shit, because it's not the moment. And I'm not trying to say that my sufferance is more than another, but it's like my experience and how all these things shape me as a person is something that I would like to share more as a way and as a mean to uplift others and make people reflect on their own struggles and realize that, you know what, you can still be fine. You can survive. You're going to be wounded, but it's fine. Scars can be beautiful as well. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be ugly. Writing a book is indeed something that I've thought about, but I'm not a writer, so I would have to find somebody, but that's not the question. Ultimately, the point of this conversation today, this talk today, is to remind you and remind myself, remind all of us that our lives are super fucking precious. We can't take this thing for granted. It's an amazing gift. It's a stunning opportunity bestowed upon us to make a difference every day, every minute. Set your intentions right. Make sure that you actually really look inside and realize how beautiful you are, even in your imperfections, but you are a beautiful person. Paris, what's going on? Stacy, yes. Tomorrow isn't promised indeed, but what is promised is that if you live your life fully, you give thanks, you nourish your body, you nourish your mind, you nourish your soul, you nourish your life with love, respect, consideration, and care, it's going to be fine. Teach your kids, teach the people around you to build a spiritual connection with themselves. Everybody have their ways, but when somebody dies physically, it's only physical. In my personal opinion, I believe that, our loved ones lost physically are not lost in spirit. We just have lost our ways connecting with the ethereal world. You understand? Just like we've lost our ways with, basic humanity. Let's come back to some sense, fam. Let's really do. Because there is a necessity to be humbled in front of life. It is a true blessing. We're here. I thank you all for tuning in. Chiquita, what's going on, sister? Ashe, and yeah, man. It's really the message that I had to share with you today. It's really about appreciating life. So it's not so much death as a conversation of being sad, because it is sad. And no matter how it occurs, and even more so when it occurs in such a violent way for, that helicopter crash yesterday. But it's life, and we must appreciate those gifts. We must appreciate every little minute. I've said in my last live last week that you can, by the way, find on YouTube. Monday Talks. If you go to my YouTube channel, it's called Monday Talks. There's all the lives there. I felt like I was going through a lot of tough stuff last year, entering this year, and I was like, what the fuck is going on, man? What's happening? Why am I going through these things? Why, like this type of challenge is coming through, okay? And then I was like, you know what? That's not the question. The question is be happy. Find happiness in, or it's not find happiness, but it will be try to find peace in the eye of the storm. This is where your character is most defined. How you react when all shit break loose. All hell break loose, sorry. Sharpen your personality. Sharpen your capacities. Sharpen your knowledge of self. Enhance who you are. Be a better version of yourself. Like, don't just say it. Be about it. Try to do it. We all have our afflictions. We all have our, but try to work so hard on yourself that, you really do your best to become a better version of yourself. And there are certain things that won't change. That's okay, but just be at peace with them and, don't impose them on others, right? I'm speaking to myself as well, by the way. I'm not just saying that for you, so whoever feels like they connect with what I'm saying, you're more than, appreciate it. And those who don't, you also appreciate it, because everybody have their own time to understand certain conversations and certain words, As far as self-elevation, I can actually give you some guys that I check out that are really very inspirational in the way they explain self-empowerment, spirituality and all these things. From a very scientific perspective as well, it's not like some weird stuff that you won't understand. There's this guy called let me find out on YouTube. It's I know his name, but I don't want to say it the wrong way. Let me look. There are a bunch of people. There is this thinker, Jiddu Krishnamurti, amazing thinker, philosopher, etc., etc. Helped me a lot. Very complex, not for everybody. You gotta really be into like complex stuff, complex structures of phrases, and it's a bit next level. But you can check him out, Jiddu Krishnamurti. Obviously, there's the likes of Tony Robbins, even a guy like Gary Vee. Gary Vee says very practical stuff, very technical stuff. He's very basic, but he says so many truths that are so evident, but we forget about them. So there are a lot of people out there that provide advices, pointers, ideas that we can all check out. Yeah, the name of this guy that I was telling you about is Joey Dispenza, Dr. Joey Dispenza. You can check him out on YouTube and I think as well Instagram. Great explanations as to how to meditate, how to change your state, because you can actually change your state energetically. Some people heal from disease that they were not supposed to heal. I mean, I have another friend of mine. I think I've shared a story on last year in one of my Monday talks where I said my guy cured himself from a pancreatic cancer. So those cases do exist, and they're not exceptional. They appear to be exceptional, but believe me, the way he went about it was somewhat of inhuman in a way, because it requires a lot of determination, but he managed to do it, and he's alive and has a beautiful family, and he's well, amazingly. But we are being told and we are being forced to think and believe that the solution is out there. No, you have it in you. You have to repeat that to yourself. The solution is within. Your body is amazing. How do you explain your heart beating on its own? How do you explain that your body can fight something that's a foreign organism? It's fighting it out. Man, we are beautifully made. We are beautiful machines, but we don't value it enough. So yeah, with that being said, man, let's really be thankful for life. And tell the people that we love them. And people that may resonate with what I'm saying, act now. Don't wait for tomorrow, because it's not guaranteed indeed. Now, on a lighter note, new music. I told you and promised you last year that this year was going to be mad, God willing, but it will be so far. I've just released a new single with the legendary Sly Johnson, the Mike Buddha. If y'all don't know Sly, oh my gosh, get acquainted real quick. The song is called Ami Sana, Dance With Me. Sly killed it. Soulful piece, nice vibe to start the year, especially with all these things that we've spoken about that have been happening. A beautiful note of positivity, not because I made it, but yeah, of course because I made it as well, because y'all know what I'm about. And if you don't, you're about to find out. You can stream it on Spotify, on all those platforms. It's there. It's called Amisana, Boddhi Satva, Sly Johnson, Amisana, Dance With Me. It's out, it's buzzing, it's a vibe, and it's there for you guys. I have much more music coming out. I just received the tune that I'm doing with South Africa's own Zano. I got Tandy Dry as well, honoring me with a beautiful song. We went real straight up, deep house on that one, back in the days type of vibe, and she nailed it vocally, of course. I got a lot of great stuff coming up, man. I'm excited, and may we be given the chance to continue shining our lights respectively and collectively. On these words, thank you for watching the Monday Talks today. As you guys can see, I'm now shortening up the format to 30 minutes, maybe pushing it to 40, but so we keep it, as tight as possible. Thank you so much for tuning in once again. And y'all have a fantastic start of the week and an amazing, fruitful and blessed rest of the week and beyond, of course. I shall see you next Monday for another episode of Monday Talks. Blessings, family. Take care of yourselves. Peace.